Story recapped here. Today I'm going to explain a mystery, sci-fi, and thriller film called Cryo. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. An old scientist shares how the story of Lazarus' resurrection inspired him to bring his mother back to life. He never accomplished it, but he hopes someone else could. One day, a mysterious person opens a cryo chamber, and a woman climbs out. She collapses on the floor, still reeling herself from the effects of cryosleep, until she hears a scream. She explores the underground facility, not noticing a bloody handprint on a wall. Someone passes by her, so she peeks around and finds a blonde woman hiding in the corner. Suddenly, two men enter and ask their names. Only then do they all realize that none of them remembers anything. Before saying anything further, they hear movement from another room. The larger man goes to investigate, but another man suddenly storms in and punches him. The newcomer panics and demands where he is, so the man reminds him that they were in cryosleep. With this, he recalls having engineered the cryosleep chambers which they were testing, but the inventor should have met with him upon waking. The blonde woman hears scratching, but the others continue discussing what could have woken them up. The blonde woman starts to leave but collapses, so the engineer tells everyone to rest and wait for their memories to return. During her sleep, the woman sees flashes of memories, including someone holding a bloody machete, the handprint on the wall, and someone holding a gun. The engineer suddenly wakes her up to give everyone flashlights. As he goes around, the woman notices patches with numbers on their suits. The engineer is 1, the blonde woman is 5, and the other man is 3. The first woman, 2, notices that the last man has his patch removed, so they mark him as 0. They begin exploring the facility in search of the inventor. Instead, they discover an airlock but choose not to approach it. The group splits up to search. 1 heads to the basement and finds the broken cables for 5's chamber, but doesn't share it with 2 when she walks in. Meanwhile, 5 discovers a ladder that leads to a hatch outside, but 3 notes that it's sealed. 2 heads into a dark hallway and sees a man standing in the dark, but when the light flickers on, he disappears. In another room, 0 discovers shattered glass and a radio. 2 continues exploring and finds a camera, so she switches it on. It glitches, so she looks away, not noticing an image of herself from the video. Afterward, 2 finds a copy of the Divine Comedy and a drawing of the 9 spheres of heaven. Suddenly, a voice booms behind her, explaining how some are preserved for a purpose only known to God. 2 approaches the man, but gets distracted by 5 calling for help. When she turns back, the man is gone. The group gathers around a machete that's stuck to a door. Inside is a fresh pool of blood, and 0 assumes it's the inventor's. With this, he itches to leave, but 1 blocks him. 3 points out that the airlock was built to keep something out, like a virus or sun flare. With this, his knowledge of biochemistry is coming back to him. 5 asks how long they could have been asleep, so 1 theorizes that it could have been for 1,000 years. Instead of arguing further, 0 relents as long as they get the power back. To do this, 0 and 3 head to the generator room and find that the wires were sabotaged. Still, 0 fixes the generator, recalling that he was in communications and technology in the military. While 3 keeps the live wires away from him, he fixes the generator. However, as he turns the circuits on, 3 accidentally lets go of the wires, burning 0's back. The others rush to help him, and 5 nurses 0, remembering that she's a doctor. Seeing 0's injuries, 5 believes that they need to try their luck outside to get resources. 1 shows them a room with computers and food, but it's locked with a code. They try to guess the code, but 3 stops them since they have a limited number of tries before being locked out permanently. While others search around for clues about the code, 2 ponders about her dream, noting how she saw the machete before. Soon, 1 arrives with a few canned goods and a bottle of water that he found, which may last a week. As the mood picks up, they enjoy music and board games. However, 5 starts coughing, so they let her sleep. The others grow concerned that she might have gotten sick from cryosleep. 2 also wonders why their memories haven't returned, but 1 tells them to just rest. Later, 2 records a video to keep track of the information they know so far. She states everyone's role in the team. 1 is an engineer, 3 is a biochemist, 0 is in military communications and technology, and 5 is a doctor. Only then does 2 remember that she's a psychologist. On the second day, 5 takes a bath, and the door opens behind her. She senses someone watching her, but when she turns, the door is closed again. She then joins the group, noting that she's feeling better. 2 is trying to plan out how to ration their food, but 5 notices that 0 isn't around. Unknown to them, 0 has a revolver with 5 bullets. Later, 5's hand shakes as she checks on 0. As he rambles about an imposter being with them, 5 prepares to inject him with a serum, but 0 stops her. Meanwhile, 1 tries to fix 5's chamber, flipping through notes that he found. He stops when he hears rats around, so he investigates the room. Soon, he discovers a hidden camera inside the wall. Next, 5 checks on 3's health but suddenly feels pain and gets cold. Later on, 0 participates in 2's psychoanalysis. He still can't recall his past, but he remembers 2 talking to him before he went to cryosleep. 2 pressures him into remembering, but he erupts in anger and tells her to go to hell. After his checkup, 3 secretly takes a sample of 5's hair to uncover what's making her sick. Upon seeing her cell's condition, he tells 5 and 2 that cryosleep may have affected 5's cellular process. 5 denies it, saying she feels okay. Suddenly, 0 alerts everyone about missing food, suggesting that someone else is with them. While 5 is alone, she takes a sample of her blood, which freezes in seconds. She then hides a sample along with the others that had the same result. Elsewhere, 1 looks into 5's chamber, but 2 catches him. As he makes up an excuse, he finds a microphone in the chamber. 1 confronts 0 about the microphone and the radios he found in his room. 5 thinks the radios can save them, but 0 points out that the frequency won't reach outside their walls. 0 insists on going outside, saying that whoever's messing with them is an outsider. 5 agrees that they should leave because it's no longer safe, but 3 protests, saying that they should first test the air. To make sure, they create an improvised hazard suit to check outside. 5 insists on going, wanting to do something despite her condition. However, when she struggles to insert her mask into the oxygen tank, she changes her mind and tells 3 to do it because he's an expert in this field. On the 3rd day, 1 talks to the hidden camera and shares that he pinned 0 for the microphone despite knowing that the inventor was behind it. 1 believes that the inventor is still watching over them, so he promises that nothing will interrupt the experiment. Meanwhile, during her psychoanalysis, 5 remembers that she volunteered for this experiment to make an impact in her field. She believed cryosleep could cure people, but it made her sick. Panicked, she rambles on about seeing visions of the future. However, 2 suggests that it's only a side effect of cryosleep. Suddenly, 5 shivers and screams. In seconds, she calms down and says that it's time. Just then, 0 enters and tells him it's time. Surprising too. Elsewhere, 3 finds some rats, so he catches one, hoping to use it to test the outside world. However, after calling the others, he checks again and finds that the rat has turned into bones. With no choice, he gets into the suit and heads outside while the others listen to him via the radio. Soon, they hear him panicking, and suddenly, he returns, frightened as he reveals that the whole world is poisoned. 1 still believes that the inventor will save them, but 0 is sure that he's dead. 0 insists that 5's health is because her chamber was broken, sparking an argument between him and 1. Just then, 0 hallucinates and sees a dark figure. Thinking he's going insane, he retires to bed. That night, as she comforts 5, 2 remembers the word Lazarus. Because of this, she goes into the dark hallway but is startled when she sees 0. 0 believes that there are hidden cameras and microphones everywhere, so he's investigating. He's also sure that the others are hiding something, but she interrogates him about the gunshot on the first night, knowing that he has a weapon. He tells her everyone has a secret, so they must be careful. On the 4th day, 2 psychoanalyzes 1 and interrogates him about 5's chamber, so 1 admits that he knew it was tampered with, but he remained silent until the imposter revealed themselves. He believes that someone else snuck into one of the chambers to pretend to be one of them. He's sure that the inventor foresaw all of these, but until he reveals himself, 1 insists on acting as his voice. Seeing his loyalty, 2 asks more about the inventor, but 1 can't describe him. Thinking of 5's condition, she theorizes that the inventor made a mistake, and the cryosleep took more than just their memories. While 2 tries to study, she notices something from the inventor's notebook. She recalls that the inventor always talked about the 9th sphere, so she tries 009 on the locked room, but it's still incorrect. Later, 0 reports that their food is getting stolen. He accuses the doctor of faking, because the sick tend to lose their appetite. However, 5 cries that she's been cold and hungry, but 0 keeps berating her until 3 confesses to seeing her steal food. As everyone gets riled up, 2 urges everyone to just remember the code to the locked room instead. 0 questions why 2 is still calm about their situation, making all eyes turn on her. At the height of his panic, 0 hallucinates the dark figure again, so he chases after it. Later on, while 3 tries to comfort 5, her hallucinations worsen, claiming she's in hell. Hearing this, 2 realizes that the 9th sphere isn't of heaven, but the 9th circle of hell. She checks the Divine Comedy and finds a photo of her, 1, 3, and 5. There's another person with a number 4, but the face was torn from the picture. The rest soon confront 0 about the real 4. However, he aims the gun at 1, insisting that he is who he says he is. Holding them at gunpoint, he leaves, telling them to stay away. While the rest plots on getting rid of 0, 5 collapses. 3 asks 0 to create an electroconvulsive therapy machine to save her, and he agrees, hoping to prove his innocence. However, 1 ambushes him and knocks him out. Later on, 1 tortures 0 into revealing where the gun is. Meanwhile, 2 records herself for self-analysis. She's worried that the experiment failed because she has also started hallucinating. Still, she believes that the answer lies in their memories. On the 5th day, 5 becomes unresponsive, and 3 uses the opportunity to kiss her. However, 2 catches him and pushes him away, hoping to wake 5 up. The rest gather around to decide what to do with 5, so 3 suggests putting her back into cryosleep to extend her life. However, they find that 0 has freed himself, so 1 threatens him with a machete, leading him to the airlock. He wants 0 to leave, but 2 pleads with 0 to reveal where the gun is to stop this. However, 1 is determined to cast 0 out, forcing him to leave. After this, 2 accuses 1 of basically killing 0. Before an argument begins, 3 reminds him to save 5, so they put her back into her chamber. Afterward, 1 tries to open the locked room forcefully, but to no avail. He then discovers that the machete is gone, so he questions 2 and 3. However, 3 believes that someone else is in the facility, so they decide to stick together until the imposter reveals themselves. On the 6th day, everyone arms themselves, suspicious of each other. As she recalls all the events so far, 2 deduces that the experiment was really about testing their memories, because the cryosleep would become worthless if they can't remember their own names. 3 supports this since cryosleep deprived their brains of oxygen, wiping out their memories. To prove this, they conduct an experiment. 1 inhales from an oxygen tank to replenish oxygen to his brain, hoping it'll help him regain his memories. However, he gets overwhelmed and removes the mask. Finally, he confesses that he made an error in 5's chamber, so if she leaves, she'll die. Suddenly, 1 loses consciousness, only to wake up moments later. Enraged, he corners 2, accusing her of letting things happen, until 0 jumps in and pins 1 to the wall. They wrestle 1 back into his cryo chamber and freeze him. 0 takes 2 away and tells her that the air outside is not toxic. Suddenly, 3 stabs him with a machete. On the day he went out, 3 discovered that life outside was thriving. However, he insists on saving 5, believing that she's beautiful during cryosleep and wants to keep her that way. Therefore, he lied about the outside world. Now, he swings the machete at 2, but she dodges it and flees. 3 chases after her, so 2 hides in a corner, allowing 3 to pass her. She returns to 0 to ask him where the gun is, but he tells her to go to hell, and 2 realizes that it's a clue. 3 finds her, but she closes the door on him, so he starts breaking it. Suddenly, 2 opens the door, pushing him back so she can run. 2 hurries back to the study and searches the books, finding the gun behind the Divine Comedy. She holds 3 at gunpoint, so he admits defeat and returns to his chamber voluntarily. After this, 2 returns to 0 but finds that he's dying. Refusing to let him go, she carries him into his cryo chamber, leaving her bloody handprint on the wall along the way. Before she closes it, she apologizes, and 0 simply nods. After he goes into cryosleep, 2 breaks down, taking out a photo from her pocket and lamenting how she failed. She contemplates taking her own life, but instead gets up. She leaves behind the photo, which is the untorn copy of the one from the book, where 0 is with him as the real 4th member. 2 heads to the airlock but stops, realizing that she's the center of the experiment, so she uses her number 002 to successfully open the locked door. Inside is full of canned goods, medical supplies, and video recordings of the team. Further inside is another cryo chamber, so she opens it, and an old man emerges. She helps the man up, and 2 recalls that he's her father and the inventor of the cryo chambers. Realizing that they both regained their memories, the inventor now wants a bigger sample size for the next test. 2 is confused since they've already run the test, but he tells her to turn off the others' chambers. She argues that the others will die, but he believes it's better to die in their sleep. As they enjoy dinner, 2 reminisces about her teammates. She then records the inventor speaking about the preservation's purpose, noting how the story of Lazarus rising from the dead sparked his dream. However, he starts recounting the same thing repeatedly, leading 2 to realize that the experiment didn't work. Scared, she tries to record a message to herself, but finds the camera's memory is full. She rewinds to the beginning, and discovers that she has recorded the same message and has been repeating the same experiment, hoping to save everyone. Since they continue losing their memories, the same actions and series of events are repeated. In a previous experiment, 2 discovered 0's gun, which was an unpredictable variable. She was sure that he was out of bullets, rendering him vulnerable so she could frame him and force the others to drive him away. She did this so he could return to save her again. As the truth unravels, 2 mourns over what she's done. She goes to 0's chamber and apologizes, but she's decided to live through it again rather than live with the guilt. Her father encourages her to continue, so she voluntarily enters her cryo chamber to wipe her memories. On the 7th day, the inventor arranges the facility and puts everything in the same place as before. After this, he opens 2's chamber and puts himself into cryosleep. Moments later, 2 wakes up, and the experiment continues.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.